Hey there, posture guys and gals, and welcome back to the Correcting Common Posture Deviation series. As always, I'm your host, Justin Archer, aka the Posture Guy, your #1 source on pain, posture, and performance. And today we're going to be discussing a combination of postural deviations, swayback and thoracic flexion, otherwise known when you put them together as the hunchback posture. Basically, from either the left or right side, it looks something like this, where the shoulder presents itself posterior or behind the hip joint. And then so you don't fall backwards, as a way to compensate, the shoulders and the head thrust themselves forward into flexion, so you're here basically, okay? So if you have a friend, take a picture of you from the side, you look yourself in the mirror, should be pretty easy to tell whether you have it. From the front, it basically looks, if someone's standing you face on, like their chest, their upper body is concave, and from the back, their spine will look convex, or a great degree of flexion, like so. All right, so right now you should figure out whether or not you have it. As far as what causes it, I would say there's two major causes that we can divide into two different demographics. Okay, so first of all is the first cause, I think, is not enough movement, leading a sedentary lifestyle. And I'll say, as a generalization, maybe an overgeneralization, but I would say, older people, senior citizens, and I can say this safely, please senior citizens don't attack me, I actually do have my AARP card. I've actually been sent one on several occasions, but that's a story for a whole nother post. Anyways, it's just a generalization. As people get older, they tend to move less. And I think that leads to the overall, aging factor. It's not that parts of your body start breaking down. It's the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. And don't forget, the other saying is form follows function. So if you're not moving a lot, if you're sitting a lot and not moving, the muscles weaken. And imagine if you just sit on the couch watching TV or reading a book, and you're just here constantly. You're going to take on that form of basically sitting in that chair, watching TV, reading a book, things like that. Now, of course, there are exceptions. I have clients that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that even work out and move more than me. So, I'm definitely well aware of that. The second cause, though, is I've been noticing kind of a growing trend over the last decade, but especially over the last 6 years, give or take a year, in younger people, in teenagers and young adults getting into this hunchback posture. And that's because of a lot of repetitiveness. I'd say actually, as a whole, they're also moving less, younger people, and it's just because there's so much convenience around us that we don't have to move compared to our parents or our grandparents or our great-grandparents, who there wasn't all the technology and things weren't automated, done for them. They had to literally get up, move their bodies, and do things for themselves. But as a whole, like I said, as a generalization, younger people are working on the computers, they're on their tablets and their iPhones, maybe they're studying at school on the books, and they're focused on stuff, they're using electronics or devices and things like that in flexion, and they're focused on them close here, and a lot of times they're sitting. And again, form follows function. So your body will do and take on whatever position you ask it to. You just have to be conscious and aware of what you ask it to do. So again, those are the two causes. As far as what muscles, are involved in it, there's a lot, and that could be a whole post, in of itself. But to maybe oversimplify, it's simply that the muscles on the front of the body have become too tight. They've kind of hijacked the body, and the muscles in the back of the body aren't strong enough to extend and straighten out the spine, pull back the shoulders and the head. Okay, and that could also be a form of compensation for what's going on down below. So if you, for instance, have a posterior pelvic tilt, and I would say this is more towards the demographic I mentioned first, older people, but again, it's showing up more and more in the younger age demographic. If you have that posterior pelvic tilt, will automatically flatten out that lumbar spine, and that's going to lead to more of a C-shaped spine. Your back's going to go back, shoulders are going to go forward, kind of that condition 3 posture. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link down below so you can determine if you're condition 1, 2, or 3. But the opposite is true. You know, maybe a very athletic kid who, you know, maybe plays soccer and they're running, they have an anterior tilt, but also, you know, the ball's down on the ground a lot, they're looking down, and so their anterior, their shoulders are back, and then their spine is back, their sway back, shoulders behind their hips, and their shoulders are on forward, heads forward, because they're constantly looking at the ball. You know, so again, two totally different lifestyles, but they could generate the same posture deviations. As far as what symptoms and limitations go along with these, you know, obviously upper back pain, you know, neck pain, stiffness, headaches, migraines, shoulder pain, thoracic outlet syndrome, so referral pain down the arms, you know, limitations. A lot of times if someone has a very stiff, you know, what's called a C-spine, like so, this hunchback, they have a lot of loss of range of motion in overhead. They can't lift their arms as high, and they also can't get their arms back as far because this is getting in the way. Once this straightens up, you know, they can pull their elbows all the way back. And, you know, those motions are important for a lot of, you know, everyday things, not just doing exercise, but, you know, maybe putting your luggage, you know, in an overhead storage compartment, or getting, you know, something heavy down from, you know, some closet of yours at the pantry, things like that. And, you know, I've had clients come in where it's just, you know, I reach for something, you know, I was getting the good china out for Thanksgiving, and ooh, I pulled something in my upper back, and now it's referring at my neck, and I got this upper back and neck pain, and it was just that movement. Obviously, the one china plate didn't overload that person doing it. It was just them trying to do this motion with a body in this position, and that doesn't really matter how old you are. You know, I admit I've had that happen to me in the past when my posture, you know, maybe wasn't this bad, but somewhere in the middle, and I reached up and I can feel between my shoulder blade and my spine something kind of pull and a sharp pain, and I went, ah, damn it. One other symptom, actually, that maybe some people may call this hunchback posture, otherwise known as the dowager's hump, where basically where the upper spine meets the neck, there's this kind of calcification, this hard, bony hump. And it seems like the older they get, the bigger it gets, and the harder and stiffer it gets. And again, it's not so much a part of the aging process, it's more so that if you keep moving, you know, keep having the certain movement patterns, keep doing the same thing day in, day out, you're practicing that poor posture, and it is going to get worse and worse. All you need to do is interrupt that with some good motion patterns, some new good habits, feed your body that, and it'll straighten out. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are. I've had clients, you know, in their mid-90s change their posture, so it's never too late, you're never too old. You know, don't think that. As far as how to change it, we have to look at it from both, obviously, the huge kyphosis or extreme curvature going on in the upper spine, this part, but also, like I mentioned earlier, what's going on down below with the pelvic tilt, because that could have a lot to do with what's going on in the upper body. So down below this video, I've included 8 exercises, 7 of which you can complete in about 12 minutes. Now the last one, just the last exercise, is half an hour. So you total that up, it's going to be somewhere between 43, 45 minutes. You know, if you're, you know, short on time, you know, I say do at least the first 7, okay? And that'll probably get you the majority of the benefit. But if you have time, either doing it all together or either at a separate time, maybe you do the first 7 exercises in the morning and then in the evening as kind of a cool down for the day to relax, because the last exercise I'm referring to, the supine groin stretch, very comfortable. I mean, there's a lot of times if I'm in it, I fall asleep in it. It's that comfortable, not strenuous at all. And if it is strenuous, I guarantee you're doing it wrong. But you can do that one later on in the day. And those, even if you do the only 7, but especially those 8, because I know in that last one, the supine groin stretch, it may not feel like you're doing a lot, but believe me, you are. It's a huge, huge benefit for you. Those 8 exercises are going to, 1, correct your pelvic position, and then also correct your spinal position, low, mid, upper, and your shoulders. So from shoulders to hips, all 8 exercises are going to hit every single part of that, okay? So give those a try, and, you know, let me know in the comment section below how you looked and how you felt before doing the exercises and afterwards. And if you have any questions along the way, again, you can leave them in the comment section down below. You can call me, email me, whatever works best for you. All right? I want to thank you for joining me inside today's video. I look forward to seeing you inside the next one. Until then, take care and keep moving.